Beware spoilers.
Spoilers are coming for you, children.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am so glad you could join us for episode 6 of the Cookn Matrix podcast. It's been a while, but it's so good to be back.
And I am Joe Matrix. I am the night. I am fear.
Nice Batman voice.
Thank you. I learned a lot from Christian Bale.
Yes. But did you learn anything from Ben Affleck?
That he's a good actor and he's a better Batman than most people thought he would be.
Yes. And what movie was he Batman in? And what is the movie we're talking about today?
Batman v Superman.
Dawn of Justice.
This movie, it brings back memories. The hype, the enjoyment, the watching it in theaters. It was not as good as most people thought it would be.
Talking in depth about the movie, let's go into the plot.
Plot? Who do you think I should start with, Sam? Do you think I should start with Batman or Superman?
Probably Batman, because, Batman's name does come first.
That is true. And
yeah.
I was definitely on Team Batman whenever it came out.
I was too. I mean, he's Batman.
Yeah. So Batman, we start out with him showing that he might actually be a bat? Question mark? Because he's sort of hanging from ceilings and appears to be flying?
Are you talking about the whole police scene?
Yeah, when he saves those girls locked in those cages?
Yeah, he's pretty much hanging on the corner of a room. He saved the girls, but the girls are still terrified of him. And frankly, if I saw a guy dressed like him just beating up a couple of thugs, I'd probably be pretty terrified too.
Yeah, and then they tried to shoot him, and then he got away.
Yeah.
He did a sort of a death brand, and that sort of ties in with the whole plot of the movie.
Yeah, because it's kind of established throughout the movie that Batman is not the Batman we're familiar with. He's a much more darker, jaded Batman, if you will. It's like he's seen some stuff.
And he kills. He does kill in this movie.
Batman legitimately murders people in this movie, which was a big sore point, but...
I mean, maybe he's turning more into the Red Hood.
Oh, that would make some people angry.
Him turning into Red Hood?
Yes. That's Jason Todd, you hacks!
Oh my gosh.
But I will say, the movie actually, it doesn't start right there, but that's part of the plot. But it starts right where Man of Steel ends. Like, we see Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
In Metropolis. He is there witnessing the battle between Superman and Zod from ground level. Which is interesting because...
That's really where he gets the ideas of, hey, Superman, if this guy turns evil, he'll kill us all.
Yeah. It really is interesting, that whole point of view. I think it's a really well done scene, probably one of the better scenes in the movie, because, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people did not like the whole Man of Steel ending, because they were like, this is kind of ridiculous. Superman's just causing, hundreds, if not thousands of people to die in the collateral damage. And I think Zack Snyder probably saw that and was like, I'm going to use that for the movie.
I've had this sort of discussion with people because, have you heard about the new series Invincible?
I have heard about Invincible.
Well, it sort of plays into the similar idea because Omni-Man's pretty much a rip-off Superman, but he's a good version. He's a good rip-off Superman, and in that show, it shows you just sort of how screwed a normal person would be if they happened to be anywhere near a Superman fight.
Hearing you mention that's a great point, because I think BVS was sort of, I guess, the first introduction, if you will, because superhero movies never really focus on the collateral damage. It's always focusing on
the fight.
Yeah, but then you realize, if we were in this scenario, we'd be dead.
I mean, any normal person would be dead. You'd literally have to be superhuman just to withstand.
Yeah. And that whole scene is kind of the catalyst or the thing that kicks off the plot of this movie, because the whole movie is sort of people just being like, you know, is Superman a good guy? You know, can we trust someone with this kind of power?
And Batman seemed to draw his conclusions whenever he had to save a little girl who's asking for her mom.
Yeah, who was in a building that literally just crumbled to the ground.
And the guy who lost his legs.
But after that scene, like I said, the whole movie... We're not going to go through every scene, but we are going to just say kind of a basic plot summary, just because this is a long movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts that you forget, especially in the dialogue parts of it, between the fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember him returning to his mansion, and I remember seeing the torn up Robin suit.
Yeah.
And saying the joke's on you, which means, oh no.
Which again goes back to this is a darker, more jaded Batman who's seen a lot of things over his years.
And I kind of like that. That sounds more like the original Batman.
Yeah. The original Batman did have a gun.
Did he?
Like original comics, 30s Batman.
Yeah, Batman started in 39, I think.
Something like that. And you might be wondering, why are we talking about Batman so much when the movie is called Batman v Superman?
In San Martin Batman.
That, and Peyton, I think you'll agree with me on this. This movie seems to care a lot more about Batman than it does Superman.
Yes. I think it does, at least in the dialogue points. The government seems to care a lot about Superman in the movie.
Yeah. But all they ever say is like, oh, Superman, you're a total bad guy. Even though those people were gonna kill Lois Lane, and they're actual terrorists.
Those people were legit going to destroy the world.
Yeah, they killed a CIA agent on foreign soil.
They legit Superman. I would say that he done the right thing, but then everyone says, "Oh, but look at all this collateral damage you caused. You nearly wiped out all of Metropolis."
You wiped out all of Metropolis. You probably murdered some people just by throwing that guy through those walls. You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the movie's more focused on Batman, but when it does focus on Superman, all it just keeps saying is that, Superman, can you be trusted with these powers? Is Superman a god? Which is a thing I will discuss later. But it's so focused on those things, and then there are minute points of the plot that it doesn't explain well enough. I think Zack Snyder is a great visual director, but when it comes to actually telling his story in a lot of scenarios, it's just like, he's just like, oh, this will be cool. But what about the explanation? Don't worry, it'll just look amazing on camera.
You'll figure it out, okay?
Yeah.
And whenever they do show Superman, he's always just, oh, what do I do with these powers? These people, they don't want me to do these things. And I'm thinking, you're Superman. What is anyone gonna do? You think they're gonna fight you? I mean, they can't. This is literally
Batman will.
Literally just this is a check your own morals kind of thing. Do what you think's right.
Yeah. And then in all the background of Batman hating Superman and Superman dealing with the government is Lex Luthor sort of plotting his own scheme to kill Superman in what is essentially a very, very complicated ruse story of him just tricking everyone into thinking Superman is the bad guy.
And honestly, I don't see why him and Batman didn't ally up.
Who, Lex and Batman?
Yeah, that would have made a better plot, I think.
I think it's because Batman saw Lex Luthor was probably up to some shady stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's Bruce Banner is Batman. I mean, he's up to shady stuff
Did
too.
you just say Bruce Banner is Batman?
And I say Bruce Banner is Batman. Why did I say that? Darn it!
Everyone
Bruce
in the
Wayne,
comments
never-
get mad at Peyton. He just said Bruce Banner is Batman.
I just said the Hulk is Batman. What is wrong with me? Sorry,
Yes.
I was thinking Bruce. I thought, well, Banner.
Uh-huh. They both start with B.
This works out.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, we could say a lot about the plot, but the plot doesn't really get interesting until like the halfway point in the movie, when Superman is actually taken to what I believe is the Supreme Court for his actions, if you will. And Lex Luthor gave this guy a wheelchair and the money to sue Superman, basically. And what happens is that Lex rigged the wheelchair to blow up, killing everyone in the courtroom except for Superman, which makes Superman look extremely guilty.
That doesn't seem right.
It isn't. But people are just like, oh, what? Superman was the only one to survive this explosion? It was obviously him.
It's almost as if he can survive big explosions.
Yeah. Is no one gonna check the wheelchair?
Nah, it was Superman. Don't worry about it.
Then again, it probably got disintegrated in the explosion. Maybe.
Even so, if it was old school Superman, he would just fly around the Earth several times and then travel back in time, pick up the wheelchair,
Of
and
course.
just throw it out.
Have you seen the How It Should Have Ended thing?
Yep.
They reference that.
I wish if that would have.
Oh, that would have been amazing. But then the plot just slows down again. Don't you agree, Peyton? After the middle, or the climax, that it just slows down again until the last 30 minutes, when the movie goes so completely bonkers, it's insane.
We forgot to mention an important plot point.
What's that?
Piano jar.
Oh,
Granny's sweet tea. Or is it peach tea? I don't remember.
peach tea, I don't know. He
I
pretty much makes a reference to the congresswoman that's overseeing the Superman case, and he puts something on. Someone gets, I don't know how this gets on to the court thing, but it's like a jar, which I believe is full of pee from the looks of it, and it says Granny's cup of tea, which she realizes is a reference to Luthor.
and somehow he times it to where the wheelchair blows up at that exact same moment.
Yes, just because I guess
Plot
Lex
convenience.
Luthor is just an omnipotent being who knew exactly when she was going to look at that jar of pee.
He is a genius.
Yes. But then, after the court case, things don't really pick up again. They just do a whole lot of back and forth between Batman and Superman, essentially. And then
Yeah.
the last 30 minutes happens, and for some reason, the plot goes completely overboard.
Oh, this is where they start fighting. The fight looks amazing. And
Even though the Batman v Superman actual fighting part, it was cool, but at the same time, it's slow. It's only 8 minutes long out of a 2.5 hour long movie if you're watching the Ultimate Edition.
yeah,
And it ends with one of the greatest one-liners in movie history.
save Martha.
For those of you who don't know, Superman's mom in this movie is named Martha.
And then
Martha Kent. And Batman's mom is named Martha Wayne.
what convenience.
I was about to say, it is kind of interesting that both Batman and Superman's mothers have the same name, but the way the movie executes this plot point is kind of stupid.
And I mean, he had the determination to kill Superman. All right, this is Batman we're talking about, and he pretty much said if there's even a 1% chance that he could be bad and evil, then we gotta kill him. All right,
Yeah.
there's no dead. That will does not go away just because hey, you gotta save Martha.
And I get it, it's supposed to show him like, oh man, he's kind of human too. You know what I mean? you know, is an alien. He's got parents like I do. Heck, they even have the same name. But still, you probably could have executed it. You probably just could have said, "Save my mother."
I wonder why Superman didn't just save his own mother, because he literally just could have flew in there, killed everybody, and then been gone.
Yeah, but Batman hit him with, like, the kryptonite stuff.
That is true.
But even then, he probably could have just avoided the fight with Batman and went to save his mother.
Yeah, but on the bright side, that Batman fight scene to save his mother was the best one in the entire movie, easily. Even though he clearly killed a guy with a box.
And a gun.
That is true.
He shot a dude with a freaking, like, light machine gun, so he's dead.
Yeah, and he picked up a box with his grappling cable, and then he slung it at him, and then there's clearly blood on the box and blood on the wall, so I think he's dead.
Yeah. So, that scene happens after the Batman v Superman fight. And after that... Honestly, I don't even know what happened in the last part of the movie. Remember when we mentioned Lex Luthor was off doing his own thing?
Yeah, he was trying to somehow revive Zod using a kryptonite ship. And the kryptonite ship told him everything about Krypton. And then he had the bright idea of, hey, let's revive Zod into some freaky thing, which is... I mean, it's not even where canon Doomsday comes from. Because canon Doomsday came from an alien world where...
Called Apocalypse.
Yeah, where this scientist guy just pretty much said, I'm going to create something till it can survive this world. Doesn't need to breathe, doesn't need to eat, doesn't need to really do anything. Just kills.
Even in Justice League, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League, which just came out recently, they sort of do the same method to bring Superman back. They put him in the little Kryptonian pool, but what they basically do is have Cyborg hooked up to the little boxes, you know, the ones that Darkseid wants so much. They hook him up to that, but it makes sense in that movie because pretty much the Flash is trying to generate enough electricity and power to touch Cyborg's like shoulder to where they can pretty much just, you know, defibrillate him back to life. Since the mother boxes can breathe life into almost anything. But in Batman v Superman, I think I didn't watch completely the Ultimate Edition, so someone may just have to refresh me on this. I don't think anywhere in the mother box does it say, oh, by the way, this will just turn Zod into Doomsday for some reason. He's just a monster now.
I mean, and what was Luthor trying to accomplish? I mean, was he just trying to make something that could kill Superman?
Right, I mean, what happened...
Just try to bring Zod back to life in hopes that he would ally with him.
I guess, but let's just hypothetically say that Doomsday is able to kill Superman, which he does, but he dies in the process. What would he have done then? He would have just been like, my plan has succeeded, but now there's a rampaging monster in the city that we can't control, and the only person that could stop him, I just murdered.
Genius!
Yeah, I mean... Oh yeah, Wonder Woman's here too. We forgot to mention her.
Okay.
Wonder Woman is only here to flirt with Batman, which is kind of cool because it reminds me of the cartoon, and to set up Justice League. That is the only reason she is in this movie.
She legit just checked her email, and somehow Batman had files on all of the characters within the Justice... Well, not all of them, but several characters within the Justice League, and I don't know where he got the stuff.
He got it from Luthor, because remember, at the party, he, like, got some information.
Oh, yeah, the flash drive, the sneaking in, and the Superman super hearing. Oh,
yeah. Which, that explains where that stuff came up, but again, it's just like, Wonder Woman is only here to set up Justice League, and to be like, oh, by the way, Wonder Woman comes out in 3 months.
Why didn't she stab him with the kryptonite spear, I wonder?
I mean, Superman gets stabbed when he does that, right? By, like, Doomsday, or does he?
Yeah, but it wouldn't make sense. It legit doesn't make sense for him to stab Doomsday with it. Because it's legit the only thing that makes him weak. And you're asking him to stab him with it.
Actually, yeah. Why doesn't Wonder Woman just throw the spear at Doomsday?
I mean, it's not as if it's going to break. It's a spear.
It's like, I know Superman is canonically stronger than Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman's no slouch either.
I mean, yeah, she whips.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
It wouldn't make sense
Superman
for Batman to do it, because Batman pretty much couldn't do anything in the Doomsday fight.
And what was Batman even doing in the Doomsday fight anyway?
I think he was grappling around, avoiding laser beams, and I think he had a gun, which didn't have kryptonite, why didn't he just make kryptonite bullets, I wonder?
I think he did, but he was like, oh man, probably shouldn't have fought Superman probably an hour before this. Would have really helped us right here.
I mean, surely to goodness there's more kryptonite somewhere.
All we have now is this kryptonite spear. Hey Superman, the only person here that's vulnerable to kryptonite? You do it!
Yeah, don't... And why would it just make him throw it?
Again, we're probably forgetting some details here, because again, none of us had the time to watch the full movie. We have our own stuff we're doing.
Can I just say Lois Lane's an idiot?
Oh. Why?
I mean, she says, oh, I'm gonna go into this pool to get this kryptonite spear. Legit goes into the hole to get the spear. She almost drowns. Superman has to save her, and then he almost drowns trying to save her and get the spear.
Yeah, that probably wasn't her brightest moment.
I mean, she not the dumbest, maybe not the dumbest character in the movie, but
I mean, Jesse Eisenberg, or Lex Luthor, was the one that created Doomsday. He could probably be the dumbest character in the movie.
I would say he is the dumbest character in the movie. Also, he put a Jolly Rancher inside of a governor dude's mouth.
Yeah, that whole scene is kind of weird.
I don't understand that.
Lex Luthor is really weird in this movie, but I'll discuss my thoughts on him later.
He's not bald. That's the problem, Sam. If he was bald, they would have fixed it.
We'll discuss him later, but after that whole fight, Superman dies. At the end, Batman's like, Wonder Woman, we need to honor his legacy. How? By making a really crappy Justice League movie.
Well, Justice League podcast coming eventually.
And along with Snyder Cut Justice League podcast.
Hopefully I'll have seen it by then.
Yeah. I think, oh yeah, and the dirt, they put like dirt on Superman's coffin, and then at the end of the movie the dirt lifts, showing that he's still alive, I guess.
It doesn't really make sense, because he quite clearly got stabbed in the heart.
And not to mention, in Justice League, they have to revive him.
Which brings the question, can you actually kill Superman? Just how strong is Superman?
That is a good question, because in this movie, the dirt was risen, showing that he is somewhat alive. And in the comics, after Doomsday kills him, he's just put like in a Kryptonian healing tube.
Which, why didn't they just say, hey, we found this ship in Antarctica, it has a Kryptonian healing tube?
Yeah.
That brings in another point. If there's ships with baby Kryptonians sort of growing, like the Matrix style, then why is Kryptonians extinct almost? I'm confused.
In the movie, in Justice League, Zack Snyder's one, it's revealed that most of the ship is literally just Superman suits. Like, there's a bunch of things where it shows like a Kryptonian outfit, Superman's normal outfit, and then his black outfit.
That's kind of dumb.
But it makes for a really awesome display.
Nah.
Okay, so that was probably the most scatterbrained explanation of the plot we could have done.
We did skip over a bit of the heavy points, but we can get to those later, I suppose.
Yeah, but basic summary, Batman hates Superman because Superman caused a lot of people to die. Luthor also hates Superman, so he has his own plot to resurrect or create Doomsday. At the end, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, because she's there also, need to realize we gotta put our differences aside, kill Doomsday, Superman dies, or does he? Peyton, is that a good summarization of the plot?
That's pretty good, quick summarization of the plot. Does he die? Who knows? I don't know. I'm confused at this point. All right, I've seen Justice League. I've seen Batman v Superman. I've seen several of the solo films. I've not seen the newest Wonder Woman, though.
It sucks. Don't watch it.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it.
I'm so confused at this point that we're just gonna stop talking about the plot and move on to the characters.
Yeah, it gets a little out of hand. So who do we have first today, Sam?
Superman.
Superman. He is the man in the red, the blue, and he flies around a bit. And he's kind of boring in this movie.
I was about to say, he's probably the most boring out of all the main characters in this movie.
Despite
might be like,
the fact that he does probably the most.
Yeah, in a way, just because the whole plot revolves around Superman. Batman's angry at Superman, Lex Luthor hates Superman. Everything revolves around Superman, but at the same time, Superman just doesn't do a whole lot this movie. His character doesn't develop in any way, too. At the beginning of the movie, he's a good guy who thinks he did the right thing. At the end, he's still a good guy who thinks he did the right thing, except he might be dead. That's the most development he gets in this whole movie.
He kind of reminds me of One Punch Man, where he's just so powerful that he just gets bored.
I haven't seen One Punch Man, but from the few things I've seen and just his general expression always being the same, that seems about right.
I mean, Superman spends this entire movie just kind of sulking, to be honest.
It's like, oh man, can't believe I had to break Zod's neck. Oh man, I can't believe the government hates me.
Oh man, I can't believe the media hates me.
Sounds like Donald Trump. Relevant jokes are relevant.
Funny joke, funny joke.
Moving on. But, I mean, the only cool thing I could say about Superman is that it is displayed just how dang powerful he is in this movie. That's the coolest part about him, is just how powerful he is.
Until Batman freaking hurts the crap out of him.
Yes.
And also, can I just say fake eggs?
The apartment eggs?
Yeah.
What do you mean by fake eggs?
I mean, they were plastic. There's no way those were real. It's okay. They show Superman's abs in the shot so it'll distract you from it.
Yeah. Honestly, Superman is so boring in this movie that it just makes me want to talk about the most interesting character in this movie.
Batman. He saved the entire movie. Alright, if it had any chance.
Don't deny it, you know it's true. Ben Affleck was supposedly going to be the worst part of the movie. He's the best part of the whole dang movie.
No, but I don't think anybody hated Batman in this movie. Despite the hallucinations and that weird point where Flash comes in and says, "Ah, you were right about him, Bruce. I don't know what's happening, Bruce."
Yep. But, God, Batman is so cool in this movie. We get to see a very different Batman than what we're used to. We're so used to the, I'm the good guy Batman. I'm never gonna break my moral code. No killing. This Batman says, forget that. We're killing people. I will brand them with my bat symbol.
He brands him with his bat symbol. He shoots him with his car. Throws a box at a man. I mean, he just goes ham, and I love it.
And I know there was such an uproar about Batman doesn't kill. I mean, you kind of have to get over it at this point. Not to mention, Batman is just... In real life, if a guy was dressing up like Batman does and doing what Batman does, he probably would be killing people too.
I mean, it's hard not to kill people, to be honest, when you're doing that kind of thing.
And I think it's just all helped by Ben Affleck's performance in this role. He is so dang good at acting as Batman.
I mean, he really picks up the emotion that Batman's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's dark, he's brooding, and Robin got killed, we've seen.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, where the heck is Joker in this? And don't tell me it's Suicide Squad Joker, because, oh gosh.
Oh yeah, it is. Jared Leto met Ben Affleck in Zack Snyder's Justice League. There's a scene where they interact with each other. Jared Leto is better in the one scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League than he is in all of Suicide Squad.
I don't think he would be a terrible Joker, but I don't know, something about it.
The voice.
The voice, the acting, I don't think that Joker design suits Joker.
Again, Zack Snyder's Justice League gave him a pretty new design. Like, he doesn't have the tattoos on him. They're mostly covered in, like, medical garbs. And I think it's just a better version of him.
Yeah, but we're talking about Batman here, not the Joker.
But this isn't necessarily talking about his character, but it does involve Batman. Batman has the best fight scene in the whole movie.
And it is when he goes to save Martha, alright?
Yeah, the whole warehouse scene, that scene is just fantastic.
This scene alone could, not quite make up, but it tries to make up for the thing that you just heard him say a couple minutes ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he goes save Martha, fights a dude who has a flamethrower.
Shoots him.
Breaks a guy's neck, breaks a couple guys' legs. Probably fights 20 guys alone.
Yeah. Fun fact, in that scene, the cape is completely CGI.
I did not know that fun fact.
Which is probably a good idea. I bet fighting with the cape is very cumbersome.
I suppose it would be. Makes you wonder how Batman fights with a cape.
You mean like regular Batman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
To go back and play Arkham Asylum just to see the physics of how you fight with a cape.
Ooh, I need to do that anyway.
It's such a good game.
Yeah. Anything else we could say about Batman?
I mean, would you say that he has the most character development in the story?
Yes, he would. Because at the beginning, he is, like we said, very dark and jaded. And seeing Superman sort of changes him into a more hopeful Batman. And we get to see that more in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I feel the character development that they had him go through was almost too sudden. Just going from, I really want Superman to die because he really could almost wipe out humanity, to you're maybe you're not so bad. Maybe you're half decent, man. So I don't know.
I will say that you're right. Batman does have the most character development, but it's also very sudden. It happens in like the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been better if they had it more progressive. Of just, hey, maybe he's not so bad. Maybe he actually was going to save humanity from being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Let's move on. Oh, did you have
next?
something else to say?
Nah, I was just going to say who we got next on the list.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, she shows up 30 minutes and then she's gone. Moving on.
Well, Wonder Woman, I'll just say this. Almost every actor in this movie absolutely kills it. Wonder Woman is no exception. She's played by Gal Gadot, who is the perfect Wonder Woman.
She does do a very good job.
But like Peyton said, she's barely in the movie.
I think she was at the party and she danced with Batman. That's it.
Yeah.
Before
she's
that.
At the two party scenes and the end fight scene and the scene that sets up Justice League. But all in all, that probably does make up about 30 minutes of the movie. And there's no character to talk about just because the movie doesn't do a whole lot of character. It's pretty much just saying, hey, you like this character? Want to see her get a lot of screen time? Go watch her movie that comes out pretty soon.
This is up. It's just a really long trailer for her movie. That's what entirely Batman v Superman is.
Yes.
Honestly, her movie was better than Batman v Superman. I'll say it.
Yes, it was. But I will say, my favorite part about Wonder Woman was just her interacting with Batman. Because like I mentioned it earlier, it reminds me of the cartoon.
Where she was very flirtatious.
Yes, with Batman. It takes me back to the cartoon, which we all know is better than the DC universe. Don't deny it, you know it's true.
I mean, Marvel rules the live action and CGI, but DC rules the cartoons easily.
Yeah. They can't even touch them.
Yeah.
Marvel's like, oh, we've got our Marvel animation. DC's like, oh yeah? We created the best animated universe on television.
Did you now?
Top that.
But did you make a multi-billion-dollar movie about Thanos snapping people out of existence?
Yeah, touche. Is there literally anything else we can say about Wonder Woman?
I don't know.
She's in the movie. We cannot understate. She's on the cover of the Ultimate Edition.
I think she's on the cover of the regular edition, but it's just a small.
Yeah, you could probably cut her out of the movie and not a whole lot would. You would have to change some stuff around, but not a whole lot would change, and that's kind of sad.
It would just end up being a Batman does nothing while he watches Superman fight Doomsday and come up with a plan.
Yeah. Alright, we got a couple more characters. Those are the characters, I might be wrong here, but those were the couple of characters where we had quite a bit to say about, but the next 4 characters, we don't have a whole lot to say about. Starting with Lois Lane.
I mean, we're taking a dive down from even Wonder Woman, and she wasn't there for much. Lois Lane, she's Batman's girlfriend. I mean, Superman's girlfriend.
First, Bruce Banner is Batman, now this?
I'm sorry, okay? I'm goofing today. I've already had class. I'm losing my mind. College kills your brain cells, kids.
Fair enough. Lois is in the movie more than Wonder Woman, but she's kind of boring. Just because this is her throughout the whole movie. Hey, I'm investigating that terrorist plot that happened at the beginning of the movie. Do you care? No? Would you rather see what's going on with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman? The most interesting part of this whole movie? Too bad, I'm still here.
Yeah, I think the reason that I say she's dumb is because she kinda reminds me of the Spider-Man game.
Mary Jane in the Spider-Man game?
Yeah, she reminds me of Mary Jane, because Mary Jane is also an investigative journalist who gets along well with main MC hero, who goes to investigate things to try to figure things out, and gets in really, really bad situations that she can't handle. Then she has to be some damsel in distress who has to get saved. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Mary Jane, Lois Lane, same person.
In the game, between the game and this movie, yeah, probably. That's probably the best description I can give of her. Again, no real character development.
She picks up a spear, and then she almost drowns picking up said spear.
Yes. Moving on.
We have Lex Luthor, the non-bald man.
I don't like Lex Luthor in this movie. I do not like him in this movie.
He doesn't... I think he does okay based on what he's given.
Yeah.
But compared to cartoon Lex Luthor, he's garbage.
When I think of Lex Luthor, I think cold, calculating businessman. When I think of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I think of Lex Luthor decided to act like the Joker.
And have a little bit of an existential crisis, wondering, Superman deity, or turns a painting upside down, put a Jolly Rancher in a guy's mouth. He's really weird in this movie.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. Lex Luthor has this, like, tendency in the movie to compare Superman to God, which is weird, and it gets old really fast.
He does it so many times, even right before the fight scene, turns a painting upside down. I mean, it really doesn't serve anything to the plot, neither. Yeah,
it's like Zack Snyder was so in love with, like, he was like, guys, we can compare Superman to God, and it could be like a really powerful theme. And they're like, all right, that's an interesting idea. Let's make it like an almost underlying point of the movie. And he's like, or we could mention it every 10 minutes of this almost 3-hour-long movie.
I mean, obviously, Lex Luthor thinks he's a big threat, but I don't. And then he sort of compares him to a demon, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just like, make up your mind, dude.
I'm confused. But,
And
I mean, he does sort of get more into other things besides putting the Jolly Rancher in his mouth. I don't know why he tries to go against Batman, because at the end he tells Superman to kill the Bat. Why wouldn't you team up with him? You both want the same thing. You want to kill Superman.
yeah, I think you're right. I think he figured, oh, he already wants to kill Superman. Just let him do it. The only problem with that plot is, like you said, if you had just worked like really closely with Batman, you probably could have ended up killing Superman.
And I understand that Batman thinks that Lex Luthor is a little bit shady, but
Yeah.
I mean, you want to kill Superman really, really bad, and you
the old saying.
You see him up front murder a bunch of people.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know the old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
I mean, I don't understand why he didn't brand Lex Luthor at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Could have easily done it.
Mm-hmm. Overall, that's what we think of Lex Luthor.
He's
Moving
a
on.
crazy psychopath.
Yep.
We got
Martha. Martha is Superman's mom. She's there to be like a wise old figure, I guess, but in the end, she's just a damsel in distress.
Kind of like Lois.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pretty much just says, be a good son. Do what your father would do.
Yeah. She's like, we know you're good. You can make your own decisions.
It doesn't Superman talk to his father, or is that in Man of Steel? I forget. I haven't seen.
I think it's in Man of
in a while.
Steel when his father is still alive. They do mention his father quite a bit.
I mean, there is a part where he climbs to a mountaintop and he talks to his father.
Is that in this movie?
I think.
Wait, are you talking to his Kryptonian dad or his Earth dad?
Earth Dad. A vision of
think-
his Earth Dad.
I think that is in Man of Steel.
I'm not sure. I know he talks to his dad. And
Again, it's been many, many years since I've seen Man of Steel.
it has been a hot minute since I've seen it as well. Comments, let us know. Was the vision in Batman v Superman, or was it in Man of Steel? We don't remember.
Yeah. There's nothing to say about Martha. Literally the best part about Martha is the whole ending.
Where she buried her own son.
No, not that part. The save Martha.
Save Martha. Why did you say that name?
I'm suddenly okay with you now.
He's a human. Alright,
That's it.
I think
That's
we've
all
said
there can be
everything.
said.
It's progressively we're saying less and less about the characters.
Yeah. Like for Alfred. He's cool. He's played by Jeremy Irons.
He's British. Maybe.
I mean, he is really cool in the role, but there's not a whole lot to him.
I mean, he's Batman's informant.
Yeah. His sort of like tech guru.
You're gonna try about 27 hostiles on the 3rd floor. Why don't I drop you off on the 2nd?
No thanks. That's it.
Yeah. I will
Alright.
say, I thought he was a lot older. Because I figured Batman was probably about 50 in this movie.
Normally, he is older. But in this one, they only look about 10 years apart.
Which is strange, I wonder. Why they
Yeah.
did that.
Maybe 15 years apart.
Which would
But
mean...
again,
So
Jeremy
Alfred
Irons
was only about 25 or something whenever Bruce parents got
was
killed.
born. Maybe. I don't know. But he's cool.
Yeah,
That's all there really is to say.
He's informant. He's Batman's advisor, trusted friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Moving on.
I think we're
Oh,
past
what
the
were you saying?
I think we're past the characters at this point.
Oh, we are. We're moving on to the pros and cons. This episode's probably going to be very long, so we're probably going to try to be quick with these pros.
I mean, to
Why
be
don't you
fair,
say
this
your pros
movie
first?
is longer than our other reviews in the past.
Yeah. Peyton, why don't you say your pros, and then I'll say mine.
Okay, so I gotta say, the fight scenes, there were very few of them, they were far between. But, I mean, they were real bangers. And another pro of mine would have to be probably Ben Affleck. Right? He pulls off the role so well. It makes me happy that they got another good Batman that doesn't sound like he has throat cancer.
We love you, Christian Bale, but you may have taken it a bit far in some places. Where's the trigger?
Where's the trigger? What did you do?
By the end of that movie, I bet he was just like, Chris, don't make me do another one of these, please.
I mean, at the end of these movies, think of how many times they probably just had to give him a break between
Yeah.
between shots, just so he can rest his throat, because that takes a lot of effort. I mean, I
Yeah.
love that voice, but I mean, still, some parts of him were less comprehensible than others.
Mhm.
I think it's better than the robot voice they used in this movie, though.
Yeah, that's true. Can I say my pros?
Yeah, go ahead.
My pros, I'm not just going to say Ben Affleck, I'm going to say almost the entire cast is amazing. Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Amy Adams as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Lois Lane are all amazing in their roles, respectively.
I can understand that. They do pull off their roles really well. Their parts are well executed. It's just the plot of the movie that makes it look.
Mm-hmm. And for my second pro, I'm just gonna steal yours. The fight scenes, they're amazing,
They are a true thing of beauty.
except for the Doomsday one.
Yeah, well, even it looks pretty good.
Yeah. I'll do my cons next, and then you can do yours next.
Okay, yeah.
Because I feel like we'll have similar cons. My con, I already mentioned it earlier, is the whole Superman and God comparison. It gets really old really quickly.
That's understandable.
And the second one, you can join in with me on this one too. Doomsday.
Oh my gosh, Doomsday. Is he Zod? Is he not Zod? We don't know. We didn't even include him in the character list because he literally just shows up for about 15 minutes and dies in the first fight he's in.
We spoiled his entire surprise in the second trailer for the movie.
Wasn't it supposed to be more of a well-guarded secret, to be honest?
If that was supposed to be a well-guarded secret, I don't know who was in charge of marketing. What about you, Peyton? What are your cons of this movie?
Well, one of the cons that I have to point out would probably be the fact that there's a lot of wasted potential in this movie, because they essentially combined 3 different movies, or even 4 maybe, into one, because it sort of introduced Justice League. It showed a completely new Batman. It was a sequel to Superman. It had Doomsday in it, which they didn't need really. And they just really could have maybe done less.
Don't forget the
movie.
death of Superman.
Yeah, they even done the death of Superman. Honestly, there's probably 5 or 6 movies that could roll into one, or the potential here.
Mm-hmm.
And they introduced the Justice League in it as well. Wait, did I already say that? I did.
Yeah, I think you did.
Well, okay. But Death of Superman, introduction to a new Batman, introduction to Wonder Woman, Death of Superman, Doomsday. It's just a real kerfuddled mess.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the writers were just like, what are the coolest ideas we have? And everyone said all these comic book storylines, but none of them were taken off the table.
And it could have just been done a little bit better, or maybe contained a little bit less, because it's a long movie just by itself.
Yeah. So what about your second con?
Probably the way Martha was executed. The scene where at the end of the already short fight scene, which everyone looked forward to, ended with a line of, "Oh, we gotta save Martha." And Lois comes in, she comes to Superman's side and says, well, yeah, his brother's name is Martha. You can't kill him here. And I get what they were doing, but it's just the way it was executed and the way that the fans seen it. It just made it seem real ridiculous.
I almost feel like that whole scene would have just been better if he had just said, "Save my mom." Because the whole point of the scene is, I think, just trying to show he's like me. He's like human in a way too. You didn't have to say save Martha. You could have just said save my mom. I think that would have been a better idea, honestly.
And then it showed some flashbacks of his mom being killed in the alleyway. And I as I say, I get it, but I do think your version sounds a bit better. Yeah. It just sounds more appealing and more realistic if it was done in a different way.
Totally. Well, now that we have gotten all of our pros and cons out of the way, before we move on to our final thoughts, I would like to talk about the legacy of this movie. Because aside from just being the on-screen debut of both Batman and Superman in a single movie, besides the cartoon shows, this essentially changed the course of DC movies forever.
And it was really their first one to sort of say, hey, we're somewhat different than Marvel.
Yeah.
Who can make comic book movies.
Yeah, you had Man of Steel before this, but again, that was just like, oh, it's just like a superhero origin story, which we've seen lots and lots of superhero origin stories.
And they never really made another Batman movie since the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
So it's been years since they had done that. Granted, the Dark Knight series was really good. But this is a different turn on it because they actually have the other members of the DC universe.
And, you know, like we probably said earlier in this video, expectations were huge and they were definitely let down in a lot of places. And this was a turning point because after this, there'd be a lot of changes for upcoming movies. Like they would make the movies much brighter and colorful in tone instead of being dark and dreary all the time.
Eventually they will have to turn dark and dreary just because if you look at the DC universe, that is what a lot of it is.
Yeah, I'd say
more often than not.
Much more darker than Marvel.
But I think they at least got a good start, and it did set the stage to make these really good solo movies. Such as Aquaman or Wonder Woman.
And again, both of those were much brighter in tone. And I almost wonder if before Batman v Superman there were plans to make it darker, more serious even.
Honestly, if it's not really a bright movie, Batman v Superman's not. But I guess even though it wasn't really that great, it did set the precedent to make better movies.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a testing ground.
Yeah.
More.
And it eventually led to Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour director's cut of this movie.
Which, even though, as I've said earlier in the podcast, I've not seen it, I have heard good things about it, not just from Sam.
That being said, though, despite the legacy that this movie has and probably will forever hold, that doesn't make it all that great of a movie.
Oh yeah, it still sucks.
Yeah, we've probably said so many times, there are so many issues with this movie that we probably didn't even get to mention in this podcast. Ultimately, I think it's worth maybe a watch. I'd stick to the Ultimate Edition. Don't watch the theatrical version. It's just bad all around. So stick to the Ultimate Edition. But overall, this is maybe one of my least favorite superhero movies.
I'd give it a 3 out of 10, probably. Just because it had such high expectations and it didn't even live up to them for the most part.
I assume that 3 out of 10 only comes from the good acting and well choreographed fight scenes.
And the reason that it's only a 3 out of 5 is the fight scenes were amazing.
Wait, did you say 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 10?
I mean, 3 out of 10, I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, the fight scenes were amazing, but they felt so short. There was a lot of discussion, a lot of dialogue in between these fight scenes that just are ultimately not what people came for.
Yeah.
Whenever they come to see this movie.
Ultimately, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10, which to me just means it's mediocre. Has some good qualities, but in the end, I'm not gonna watch it again. I'm not gonna go out and buy a copy on Blu-ray or something. I just don't think it's worth it. I could spend my money on better things and my time on better things.
The only reason I got it on DVD is because it was quite literally in the $5 section at Walmart.
There you go. So that is our podcast on Batman v Superman. What did you think of the movie? Let us know in the comments down below.
Let us know what you think. I mean, this movie, it's up for debate. I mean, I hear a lot of people probably think as me as Sam do.
Yeah, I've heard some people think the same way we do. I've also heard some people say, I do like the movie. We are not one of those people.
This is a movie that I've seen twice. I don't see me watching it anytime soon.
Me neither. So that is everything. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
And be sure to watch our other podcasts that we've done in the past.
Yes. We have
done a handful now.
That's right. We have many more podcasts hopefully coming out in the future and much sooner than this one. Sorry about that. But our next podcast will be, Peyton?
Sonic Boom.
That's right. We're continuing our every other episode marathon of Sonic the Hedgehog. We looked at the Sonic movie last time, and next time we'll be looking at the 2010's CG animated Sonic Boom, based on the video game.
And
that should be interesting.
And don't forget, whenever that video does come out, be sure to give us some ideas for what you'd like to see.
Absolutely. Hey, give us some ideas in the comments of this video.
We're open to suggestions. I mean, we just love making movie reviews.
That's right. And who knows, this could expand into more. We've already reviewed TV shows, maybe video games in the future. Let us know.
If you'd like us to do that, then let us know. I mean,
we play video games. We're nerds.
We play games. We're gamers.
Yeah.
We're one of the boys.
That's right. We can do the Fortnite dances.
I don't know.
Neither do I. Thank you for watching this episode. Really means a lot. Sorry it took so long. We'll see you all for the next time when we talk about Sonic Boom.
Adios, amigos.
Later, everyone.